Rob, let us get to the game of the weekend. And that, of course, was the Brooklyn Nets and the Boston Celtics. 115-114, last second buzzer-beating layup by Jason Tatum, the difference. But as great as the game was, and it was an instant classic, Rob. I was watching it with my dad, edge of our seats the whole day.
When it's going back and forth like that, come back by the Nets, they were down big. They go ahead. KD can't knock down that three, and then Boston is able to win it at the buzzer, basically, a buzzer beater. Very rare that you see layups for buzzer beaters. You know what I mean? That
Absolutely.
was what was different. Yep.
You know what I heard too, Rob? This will shock you because it shocked me. That in all of their storied history, that was the first buzzer-beating game win in a playoff game in Celtics history.
Wow, is that right?
Think about that. That's incredible. Yeah, I never would have believed that had somebody said it. But anyway, Rob, in addition to the great competition of the game, there was another big story, and that was Kyrie Irving, who played fantastic, had 39 points. But he got into it with the fans, Rob. And, of course, he has a history there. He played there for 2 years. It didn't really go well. He told the fans he's looking to stay if they'll have him. He obviously jetted. And it's been just a hostile relationship ever since. And they were going at him, and he went right back at him, not just with his game, but also with his with some gestures. He gave him the finger, not once, but twice. Maybe if you can count it three, because one time he gave it to him like with both hands behind his head. And here's what he had to say about that.
You know, it's nothing new when I come into this building, what it's going to be like, but it's the same energy they have for me, and I'm going to have the same energy for them. And it's not every fan. I don't want to attack every fan, every Boston fan, but, you know, when people start yelling and all this stuff, it's but so much you can take as a competitor. And, you know, we're the ones expected to be docile and be humble and take a humble approach. Nah, that's the playoffs.
I mean, obviously, you would rather not get involved with the fans and try to block it out. And I get what he's saying, you know, just let it roll off your back. You're the professional. You're making millions. They're just in the stands to see you. Don't let them get under your skin. And if I'm a coach, that's what I would hope my players could do, you know, and not get involved in that. As long as they don't touch you, Chris, and as long as they're not vulgar or racist, you know, you can say whatever you want. You got to be able to, you know, not let them get to you, not take you off your game. And obviously he played great, so it didn't happen. But to get into it with fans, no matter what, just you got to block it out. You got to block it out. You know what Boston is famous for. They got a, you know, they feel a certain way about Kyrie because he came up there and didn't work out. So they always are going to be kind of hostile of things that could have been had he stayed, and you know, and maybe they would have won a championship by now. Who knows? But they never feel good. I'm just saying, but they don't feel good about Kyrie. So every chance they get, they try to get under his skin. He has to be bigger than that.
Look, you can't be flipping off the fans. You just can't. He will likely get fined by the league, and he should get fined by the league. Now, I get that he's upset, and I get, you know, I don't care what situation you're in. After a while, you get sick of people going at you, and you might lose it and go right back at them. But you do have to understand the situation you're in, and so you can't do it. I don't have a huge problem with him doing it, Rob. You know, I mean, I wouldn't do it. And then, of course, he was caught saying something, you know, at halftime, going into the locker room to some fans. I wouldn't do that. I don't agree with any of that. But I'm not going to kill him for it. Fine him and let's move on, because you just can't do that as a player. It's just not good business at all. What I do like, though, Rob, is the mentality that led Kyrie to do it. That Kyrie, I think, Rob, Kyrie is a natural born contrarian. I think if everybody's going left, Kyrie's going to want to go right. Oh, you should love playing with LeBron James. Nah, I don't want to play with LeBron James. You know, Rob, I'll go this far. If Dr. Fauci and the government was telling everybody, do not get vaccinated. Whatever you do, don't take a vaccination. I can see Kyrie getting vaccinated. Like, I found this magical cure that works against COVID. Like, he's a contrarian. We see it in, I mean, how many ways does he have to tell us? Doesn't want to celebrate. Why? Not even that you don't want to celebrate Christmas. Apparently, you're a Muslim. And I'll say this. I mean, I know a lot of Muslims. Kyrie, I don't think your Muslims brothers love you, but this language and all that, during Ramadan, what you fasting for? If you just going to use that type of language and tell people to do this and that to you, come on, man, you better than that. But it's one thing if you don't celebrate Christmas, but why is it a holiday? The earth is flat. Like, he's a contrarian.
I don't know, Chris. I think you're lumping too many things together, and you want to paint him what I don't know if he's just a contrarian just to be a contrarian. And my pushback to you is, you don't know what kind of relationship he really had with LeBron that made him feel like he didn't want to be there. I don't think it's just because everybody else loves LeBron, he wanted to be opposite. I think that there was some behind the scenes friction there that caused him where he didn't want to be around LeBron anymore. Now, I'm not privy to I'm not breaking any news here. I'm just saying, I don't think that you could just say, no matter what somebody says, he's going to go the other way.
Well, I don't mean like just everything somebody says. He's
like peanut butter,
going the
and
opposite
he says
way.
He likes jelly.
Right. I don't. I mean, it's a little bit of an overstatement.
Okay.
But I'm illustrating that I think he has a contrarian nature. I really think he does. There are people. Obviously, nobody goes against every single thing. All right. I mean, but I think Kyrie has a contrarian nature. And I think he views himself as a rebel. And so he enjoys going against the grain. That's what I'm saying. Whether you agree with the LeBron analogy or example or not, I think he's shown enough that he has a contrarian nature. And that's not always bad, but I think that's what he has. And I think he loves this situation. I mean, you saw how well he played. He was great the whole night, but he got better as the crowd got more and more after him. Rob, when he scored 60 this year, when he scored 50 this year, when he scored 43 this year, they were all on the road. He shot 47% on the road, 44% at home, averaged more points per game on the road than at home. The biggest shot of his career, one of the biggest in NBA history, Game 7 at Golden State on the road. Game 5 of that series on the road, he goes for 41. Like, many of his best games, most of them, he scored 57 at San Antonio. He likes it when they're against him. And he wasn't right as how far he took it. But if he can, a lot of times you don't want your players, listening to the crowd or getting into it with the crowd. But if it makes him better, or even if he just can still play his game, then I'm fine with it. Like, that's what I've always said about Kevin Durant on social media. Like, look, you might think, why is he going at some random person that he has no idea who he is on Twitter or whatever? Well, it clearly don't hurt his game, so I don't have a problem with it. So that's my take on Kyrie in this situation. And he's not going to have 39 every night. But I think if the Boston fans keep going at him, it's going to fuel him.
No, that's a good point about him being able to – he's one of those guys, I agree with that, where some people thrive off of that. I remember Reggie Jackson was one of those guys too.
Right.
When he played, right? Reggie, like everybody hated Reggie Jackson.
Like Kyrie would have no problem playing for the Knicks. He didn't want to.
Right.
Right? But I don't think he wanted to deal with the media, Rob. But he would be able to withstand that pressure. Everybody can't. You see Julius Randle doesn't like it now. But I think Kyrie could handle it.
He was a media darling a year ago, Chris. I mean,
it was all good just a year ago.
They were giving the Knicks the NBA championship.
Well.